Hey folks, with us today, Alex, the CEO and co-founder of Randevu. Super happy to have you on.
Hello, Nicholas. Thank you very much for inviting me. I am also very happy to sit here.
Let's start with the most important thing. What does your startup do and who is it for?
Our startup is a tech startup. Product is also a tech, and is there to assist all the founders who are building some kind of digital platforms to provide them with all the needed technology. So you can roughly see it as two elements. One is development environment for building your digital platform in a really efficient way, and the second half of a product is infrastructure on which basically your built product will run, scale, and evolve during the time. So basically, one-stop shop for the full lifetime of a digital platform.
So is your like typical buyer persona like the engineering manager or a technical co-founder of a company, or like who's the typical person buying that?
That's a really good and a very hard question, and it can probably have several answers depending on the stage where we are, on the focus that we have, on the market that we are focusing at this point. So let's shift this. Let's split it in two things. So two personas: buying persona and the user persona.
Yeah.
So it's easier to start with user persona, who is definitely a tech person. So it's as it is a product that helps development. It's kind of development tool. Obviously, the main user to use it has to have some technical knowledge. You can see it mostly like a technical knowledge needed to run some kind of a little bit more sophisticated no-code tool. So some more advanced business people can also use it, but basically it's for the tech people. So user is a tech guy. On the other side, buying persona is typically a founder or a CEO or a manager or a general manager, depending on the scale of the company or startup who is building a platform. So typically a business side person who is interested in having a solution for their marketplaces.
Got it. And then I would love to switch gears a bit and just talk about your founder journey. You have a long history, basically, like a long CV in tech with very interesting spots. For example, you in 2017, you co-founded Penta, and then after the exit, advised a couple of companies. Just for the listeners, share your journey into basically from the tech side into becoming a founder.
Cool. So I finished my university. I graduated like 25 years ago, and since then I started from a developer. So as a developer from the ground up. So basically, from there I started evolving to an architect, analyst, project manager. So I did quite a lot of things in a tech space. So I also first 15 years just before mentioned Penta, I was in the corporate world. So I've done lately mostly consulting to corporations and governmental institutions, and then by the coincidence and of course also I wanted to feel something different in my career, to change something. So I decided to co-found a startup. I was invited by a couple of friends, and I just said we co-founded Penta. It was quite a good, large shift for me in a mental thinking. In Penta, I was a CTO, so I was still stuck to technology, building teams, and the things that I felt comfortable with. But I also started learning all the other things which are evolving startup building, like fundraising, like a market, like long-term projections, and more than anything else, design thinking, lean development, and kind moving in this unpredictable and unreliable environment. So I really like the vibe, and as you said, I continued after Penta. I continued doing some advising, and on the other side also learning and picking up with all these topics that I haven't really used before. And I felt ready to start a new endeavor, which is Randevu. So that was a journey from the tech world to Randevu, and now I'm playing this double role, I would say. I am CEO at the same time as basically product person. I feel here in this company mostly responsible for, and especially looking at the long term, as a product owner or CPO or something like that. Given the idea was mine, and I understand quite a lot of the technology and especially our product, so I think my best performance will be there. But of course, in this early stage, there are other things that we all can, or actually all the co-founders need to be multitaskers. So obviously, I cannot just stick to tech at this point, and I have to do more other things like team leading, culture building, fundraising, strategy planning, etc.
If you need to hire the right developers and ship fast, then React Squad is for you. A boutique agency that specializes in React and only works with fast growth startups. Visit reactsquad.io to learn more.
I would love to first double click on the switch from like basically a developer to CTO, and then from like CTO to CEO in like a different company. But like, what was the biggest switch you had to make mentally from the coding yourself to basically as a CTO leading a team, building a team? Like how did this feel, and like how did you manage that? And what can you maybe advise to people who are in a dev position and want to move up to CTO or be a CTO someday?
Okay, so actually this happened much more gradually than it looked like. It happened basically it's happening from the beginning of my career. So the first year I was mostly coding, and then I realized actually that I kind of see more challenging and more motivating to actually envision software in the long term. So instead of just coding some algorithm and making great performance on the low level, I was more attracted to trying to foresee the software from the high level architecture of how to organize big building blocks. And so it was spontaneous. I started thinking in that way, visualizing my software, and then naturally leading a couple of developers in the beginning. And that was kind of beginning of going up. Also, the role of analyst is very interesting to me. The one who is starting from a problem and trying to conceptualize problem to logically understand it from different perspectives and try to map it to the software design. That was a long time more challenging part and more interesting part for me to deal with. So this process went really slowly. Also in this first 15 years, I also ran my consultancy business. So I had to learn about taxes, about accounting, about sales, about all these things that make up a company. But my focus was always on technical side, either technical consulting or development, or now product building. Also, not easy to separate from that, also technical sales, which in case of technical products are really important part. So that's role I played also here in Randevu. I am together with my business co-founder, with my commercial co-founder, we are doing sales. So he starts with the commercial side of the sales, and then for the qualified users, I jump in with the technical topics and so on and so forth. So regarding what I would suggest, I would say, well, maybe it sounds romantic, but just listen to your heart. I know many people who are older than me and still coding. Why? Not because they're lazy, probably most of them not. Just because they're passionate for coding, and I can understand it because even today I code in Randevu. I'm backend developer, so I really enjoy coding. But what makes me feel more like doing other stuff is more impact I can have and more my experience. So there is a lot of great developers all around the globe. Easy to find today with remote work and everything. But not all of them has this vision and experience. So I like to combine my experience and vision with the young developers' motivation, energy, and skills on the low level, writing algorithms and things like that. So I would just say, follow your path. It won't be very hard. If you're really attracted and feel kind of that the code is blocking you, you should probably try to get out of this of that closed box and try to see that maybe it's something else for you. If you really feel comfortable with coding, no reason to change it. You can also be a perfect founder with just coding and maybe fundraising. These two skills are quite good skills for building startups.
Yeah. And then do you feel like the switch to now being the CEO was just further down that path of basically higher impact and a bit more like higher level thinking, or like anything else that just like feels different from like the CEO seat compared to the CTO seat for you?
Yeah, it feels very, very, very much different. So I cannot stress out enough how different it is. So it's simply from the technical, also in different phases of a startup. Role of CTO is, I think, the role which changes the most. In the beginning, CTO can be any hands-on developer with year of experience, just to build some MVP and to put it all together. And that as the startup is growing, the CTO is really shifting dramatically fast. So already after a year or two, you already have to find a way to lead teams, to have a couple of them, 2, 3, 4, sometimes 5, sometimes 10, to build a little bit longer lasting architecture, to try to assess, also participate in due diligence processes with investors, and be able to represent the whole concept, and to leave the enough confidence and trust that you will be able to continue this. While in some more advanced stage of a startup, CTO is many times more of a politician, and somebody who has much more management skills than technical skills. So it's definitely a very, very, very different role. And now comparing to CEO, maybe as the startup is progressing, obviously CTO is starting to remind a little bit in this management point of view to what the CEO is doing, but scope to the technical world. While in the beginning of the startup, the difference is tremendous. There is almost no overlap between maybe early CTO and early CEO. Obviously, CEO is there to represent the company, to pitch around, to network, to fundraise, to do all this kind of human to human contacts, which are really necessary in this stage. While the CTO can perfectly be enclosed in the cellar with whatever he or she needs, audio phones or whatever on the headphones, and be the whole day just building MVP. So it's a very, very different game.
And then, let's talk a bit about Randevu specifically. How can you tell us? You founded it in 2020, so you're roughly 3.5 years in. Tell us a bit about how many employees, or did I read that wrong on LinkedIn? Feel free to correct me.
Just a year less. We started in 2021.
Okay.
So
got it.
It's a 2.5, almost 3 years.
Makes sense. Okay.
Besides, everything is true. So we started around 3 years ago. We were in our first accelerator. So after the original idea and some rough validation around the world, I started talking with a friend from Berlin, who is coming from the same land I'm coming. And we knew each other before. We were both active in IT, and I just spontaneously raised the idea that if this project goes on, would you be interested in being a CTO? So he wanted to know more, and step by step, one thing led to another, and a couple of months later, both of us ended up in an Antler accelerator, trying to find our third co-founder and try to make our first steps, incorporate the company, find some potential customers, start also talking to them, and starting to nailing down the product vision and the rest. So that was a little bit in the beginning. And our third co-founder, commercial one, the first one is a tech guy. I mentioned it. So we were a strong tech team in the beginning, which is also okay, I believe, given the type and the nature of the product. So later on, we met and found our third co-founder, wrapping up the team necessary to hold the first couple of years.
And then how did
the core team?
Yeah. Do you remember how you found your first 10 customers?
Of course, actually, it's not very hard because we have 11 in total. So
okay.
It's you almost did it. So at this point, we of course we know. I remember we were active on the conference in Germany, conference about digital platforms, and basically we met a couple of people there, and among them there was a guy who was building actually starting a project of building a platform, B2B platform for connecting some industry players. It's not that relevant what exact type of the business, but basically building some kind of marketplace where producers and customers of a certain engineering method in industrial world. We'll join together to do RFQs and basically connect for working. So they were basically closing the deal with the Ukrainian development agency for this project, and then had a 9 to 12 months thought with the budget of I think 250K more or less. While we said that it's ridiculous, we have our product, which was in the early stage back then, well, earlier than today, but already capable of building some basic stuff. And long story made short, in 3 months, we already had it done. So we finished, obviously, making an offer they could not reject. As told, we have a really develop the technology which accelerates tremendously building any kind of digital platforms. And in concrete now mostly marketplaces. So we build it basically in 2 months and in 5 times less budget they did it, of course, without any technical team for them. So that was our first experience. It's still running and growing. Now they have their own team working with our API, and yeah, we are very good friends.
And then I would love to dive deeper in that. So, I mean, if you have 11 customers, that means the ACV, being like the revenue per customer is a lot higher than like your $10 a month SaaS. And then is it a mix of like an annual subscription plus implementation fee, or like break that down a bit for us?
That's also a great question again, and it's a subject to the moment. So I will make it clear where we are going and what we are doing now and what we did, for example, 2-3 years ago. At this point, yes, this is a not €10 product. It's a development engineering tool. So we have a starting license of around 12 plus K a year. So it's a 1,000 roughly entry fee for a month, and we are at say a 6-digit ARR at this point with all our customers. So we basically charge first subscription. With this subscription, they have access to our infrastructure and also to development environment of this. But this development, and at this point, at least using Randevu, is our business. So what we want to do is to be experts for the infrastructure and API and the backend. And we want to give the front end to either customers themselves or some of our partners that are appearing on the market that we are closing deals with. So basically, we are doing we have subscription. We don't have one-time fees anymore. We used to have them in the beginning while we were bootstrapping and trying to prove the concept and also get to know our own technology, feel how developers think about it, so get a feedback direct from the end users. But as it was stabilizing and as we were getting more confidence, we also felt more confident to simply push this front-end development for each customer to our partners, which are basically software agencies building and having experience with marketplaces. So it's a win-win-win for all three of us. For us, we can focus on API and have more scalable business because there is no manual work to that much, no development on our side. On the other side, it's a win for our customer because it gets a premium solution in less time, just like our first customer, and for agency as well, because they can do the same job they used to do before, but with a technology that makes them do it more efficiently, quickly, with less resources, in turn leaving them for a really big margin and maneuvering room to set the price or to lower the risk. Or so basically that's the setup we are being at right now, and we are trying to grow it, to develop it, to scale it. We are exactly at this phase now, like pulling us towards the API, pushing the other development to our partnership networks, and growing this network.
And was this
does it make sense?
Decision? It does make a ton of sense, but I have one very specific question, which is super interesting to me. How did you, I mean, as you mentioned it, especially early on when you're bootstrapping, cash is super important. So how did you make the decision to say, no, we're keeping focused on the API, on the scalable part, and we don't do the implementation, aka we don't sell like the man hours where you get like your hourly fee and so on? Like, how did you make that trade-off and that decision?
We simply, we started with a vision of having complete self-service machine. So, which was even more crazy than not doing development. But very quickly we learned that it's going to be I'm not going to say impossible, but definitely a very, very long journey. People tend to have difficulties learning new things. First decided to learn, then learning, and this is a very, very complex project. And given my experience in Penta earlier, when we spent the 6 months, I think only fine tuning the onboarding flow, which was like 3-4 forms. Very simple thing, but with hundreds and thousands of users and tens of thousands of users, statistics jumps in, and somebody gets confused here, the other one here and there, and map this to the complexity of Randevu sounded very, very scary. So very early we realized that we are going to help there or somebody else. Then we started in order to get some revenue, as we were bootstrapping the first period. So that was a motivator to do it. But we said, okay, we will do it for some time to prove the concept, and then we will get out of it. And then, as we were also in the same time talking with investors, they kind of saw that, and they didn't like that, because out of the obvious reasons, out of the same reason we didn't want to do it, because that's not leading to a scalable business. So their position, we try to explain and to talk, but they are kind of impatient. They want to see real results earlier than we felt comfortable at that point. So we decided simply to start accelerating this and to pushing, even though it sounds tempting at this point. Before we really got really good funded, it was really tempting to take like a 100K project for 3 months and just code it, But in the same time, I was thinking, okay, but instead we can maybe have, if we stay like this, we will have this customer, and we can only serve that customer given our small size. But in the same time, if we decide to go for a more scalable model, we could have maybe 10 customers. So if we are not developing the heavy part, the coding part, and instead have customer or partner doing it, we can completely focus on our API with much less effort. So to give you an example, comparing to this customer that I told about first, one of the last customers decided to go with our built-in front-end technology, meaning that there were no development at all. And with this customer, we basically launched their MVP in less than 10 days, and with less than 10 hours of Randevu effort. So, and it's running, paying the same subscription, growing, everything good, even for him. Because earlier to the market, now they can already test with a proven system. They can test their processes and their UX, and once they feel comfortable with it, it's very easy to construct a UI, just on the top of the proven and working API.
Yeah.
So that's the reason, basically, to get to the scalable business as soon as we can. That's the reason why we like.
Makes a ton of sense. And then how does the team look like right now?
We are a 6-person team, 3 co-founders plus 2 tech guys, QA and a developer. Well, 2 co-founders are also coding. So I'm on the backend side. My co-founder Philip, CTO, is on the front-end side. So it's a 4 or 5 person team for building team. And we have besides we have a business commercial co-founder, and we have another very multitasker in the game who started by helping us. That's a typical startup story, and how the founders have to be multidisciplinary type of person. So he started helping us in accounting, which was the task that obviously 2 tech guys will not do with love. So that was one of the first things that we took from him. He worked a couple of hours per week without really crazy ambition to stay with us, but slowly but surely he started taking more and more things. So as he has talent for design, he started designing. Later on, he started giving hand with German customers and then setting up their tool. And now, 2 years after, this guy is doing like projects with the customers. He's doing our design. He's doing product development. He's doing administration, and accounting, and all this kind of stuff. So we are a small team, but more than a year and a half, we are all together stable. No new guys, no outgoing guys. So all good. From time to time, we sometimes get some freelancing help if we need it in some special things, because we definitely are aware how much skills and knowledge and experience we need in a team, and we definitely cannot, even when we become much more much better funded, we will not be able to hire them full time all. So we prefer to have a really small and compact and reliable team, like joined and helped, assisted by top level freelancers, advisors, or consultants around the world.
And then what's the plan from here? Are you like planning to raise a new round and invest more in the tech side, or basically like even out the like basically like same amount of people on tech and business, or like what? How do you plan from here with where you're at?
From here, we are currently in the middle of our fundraising round, seed round. So we are raising for the seed to basically reach a certain ARR in a lapse of 18 months. So basically, why we are doing this? Because we feel completely locked in and without any capacity on both sales and product side. Also, there is a clear relationship between the two. If we still have to help our partners. Sometimes we even code, especially for the lower, so it's still not fully blown scalable business. So if we have several customers in the same time, new customers that require attention, it will already block both development and sales. So we need to unblock both of them. So we are raising money to scale our sales department and our product development, and basically just continue doing what we are doing right now in a way that we are doing right now for the next 18 months, which would lead us to a feeling of PMF and an proven product, much stable product. Again, I have to stress we are building an enterprise development tool, so it needs to always have a quality. We need the features to add, and basically after that, we are probably going to start slowly shifting and going towards the bigger customers like enterprises and similar.
And then as we're coming close to time, as a final question, I mean, with your experience from running an agency back in the day or a consulting business, co-founding Penta, and now being the CEO of Randevu, like if you had to do it all over, is there like a specific thing you would do differently?
Or if we keep focus on a startup thing,
yeah. I
would definitely stay. So if I would start from the beginning, I would definitely actually, I wouldn't. I would probably try to spend a couple of years in a corporate world in order to learn how these things look once matured, stable, and supposed to be working correctly and fine. So once then, I feel this experience helped me a lot with especially in Penta to kind of. Learn how to organize this chaos that we have in a startup environment. So basically, it's maybe it sounds contradictory, but basically, the more chaotic and more unpredictable environment you have, the more thinking you have to actually involve in order to go smart through all this chaos. So lean development is one thing, agile development is one thing, but do not apply any planning and strategy and thinking. It's chaos. It's not lean development.
Yeah.
So I needed this corporate experience and really engineering experience to make the difference between chaos and agile development. So I would definitely spend a couple of years at least until I feel comfortable in a corporate world, and then I would probably move to startup environment. And the discipline that you need the most is fundraising. So if you want to be a founder, I would say get prepared to dominate this discipline, no matter if you're a tech guy or non-tech guy. This is basically all it's about, because you're building a product, but you're not building a product for customers. First, you're building a product or a vision or a concept for investors. They are your customers. They will finance you to build your dreams. So even if you're a tech guy like I am and doing this out of passion and not like only the making money, you first have to do some homework in order to deserve this position to build up your dreams.
Love it. And then finally, where can people find you and the company online?
We're on randevu.tech. Very, very easy. It's our website, which is changing relatively fast, but they can learn about us and put them in contact with us. I will be happy to talk with them.
And we will make sure to link everything up below. Alex, thanks a ton for taking the time today.
Thank you very much, Nicholas. It was a pleasure.
If you like this episode, then you'll love the SaaS Operator, a weekly newsletter brought to you by EarlyNode, with actionable insights from SaaS experts in the industry delivered right to your inbox every Tuesday for free. Visit earlynode.com to subscribe.